So, welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk about a very curious fight between Julio Cesar Martinez and Ronal Batista, an unheralded Panamanian. This was on the undercard of the Canelo Ryder main event in Guadalajara. Martinez, of course, being Mexican. I think he's in the Eddie Reynoso camp. He had to come from behind to beat Batista, who, again, it was pretty much unheralded. Batista came in with 15 wins, 2 defeats, one of those by stoppage, and 9 KOs in his 15 wins. But he hadn't really beaten anyone of any great note. And certainly his previous fight, he was in against a journeyman. He scored a 4-round retirement victory. That was sort of, I think, at the back end of 2022. And he had an 8-round decision the same year against an undefeated fighter who was 8-0. But he looked through his record and there was really no one there of note. And in fact, he'd lost in 2019. That was his last defeat. A unanimous 12-round decision for, I think it was the WBA. It might have been the WBA flyweight title, but the WBA has so many belts, I sort of lose track of which one is which. But he lost to a guy who had a 4-1 record, and that was Mikhail Aloyan. So he came in as sort of standard cannon fodder, really, for Martinez, who we all know is a rampaging little sod. Martinez came in with 19 wins, 2 defeats. Neither of his defeats is by stoppage, but he's got 14. He came in with 14 knockouts in 19 wins. He recently, last year actually, about a year ago, it was maybe March, April last year, he lost over 12 to Roman Gonzalez. It was a brilliant performance by Chocolatito. And he went back down. That was up at Superfly. Went back down to flyweight, beat Samuel Carmona, unanimous. No, actually, it wasn't unanimous. It was a majority decision, if I remember rightly. But prior to that, he really looked the part. I mean, he was, Joel Cordoba. He stopped him in 6 rounds. Moses Caleras stopped him in 2 rounds, and Jay Harris went the distance, which was a surprise to many. Not a bad little fighter, Jay. Christopher Rosales, I think, went out in 9 rounds, and that was, if memory serves, that was when he won the WBC flyweight title, Martinez, because previously he'd fought Charlie Edwards for the same belt, and it had been called a no contest after 3 rounds because although Martinez was chewing up Edwards, he hit him when he was on the canvas, and Edwards kind of got out of jail with a no contest, but no doubt he would have won that fight had it continued. So yeah, Rosales, I think, Rosales and Martinez fought for the vacant belt, and then that's when Martinez became a world champ because he won the vacant belt against Christopher Rosales. Since then he's held it. And Ronal Batista was not expected to take the belt off him, but it was weird because for the first 5 or 6 rounds, Batista's game plan looked absolutely perfect, and Martinez looked strangely out of sorts, lacking in energy, disinterested, not being his usual rampaging self, not being his usual high volume punching self. Now I thought there was even an element of frustration early on. I mean, at the end of the second round, Martinez and Batista exchanged punches after the bell, and they were both spoken to. But there's no doubt who was on the front foot, on the ascendancy, and that was Batista. And he was boxing a very disciplined fight. He was controlling the range very well. He wasn't allowing Martinez to sort of bum rush him. He wasn't allowing himself to get into any exchanges. And then at the end of the 4th round, it had been another pretty decent round for Batista. He punched Martinez after the bell and had a point taken off. Having had the warning, they both had the warning at the end of the 2nd, at the end of the 4th. Batista repeated the offence and had a point taken off. And so he kind of undid a bit of good work there. But not to worry. On he goes. Still boxing pretty well. And then I think it was the 6th round, there was this weird incident where quite clearly Martinez, who was beginning to get his engine running, he was beginning to get closer. He was beginning to force Batista, who inevitably was slowing up a little bit in the middle rounds. He was forcing him to fight more up close. He was forcing him to fight, to slug a bit more, to fight more. And he landed I want to say it was a left hook. I might not be right about that. But it caught Batista on the side of the head, and Batista sort of scrambled backwards and collapsed backward onto his back, onto his backside, near one of the corners. And the referee inexplicably said, "Oh no, that was a slip," or perhaps he thought that Martinez had trodden on Batista's foot, and that's why the guy had gone over. Well, nothing of the sort happened. It was a genuine knockdown. And then weirdly, between the rounds, I think it was Mauricio Suleiman got involved. He stuck his beak in. Okay, this is a WBC flyweight title fight, but it's a commission call. It's not for the WBC president to start sticking his beak in. And nevertheless, they had a look at the video, or they had a look at the video, and suddenly the referee corrected himself and said, "Oh no, that was a knockdown." So it was a 10-8 round. So after 6 rounds, despite doing, or 6 or 7 rounds, whatever it was, after doing an awful lot of good work and being very disciplined, Batista suddenly had a point off for a punch after the bell, and also a point, he lost an extra point for a knockdown. Well, I don't know how much that affected him, but clearly Martinez was in the ascendancy, and he started to really draw Batista into a very grueling fight. Suddenly Martinez was letting his hands go, punching very well to the head. Even when he was doing like little half circles or semicircles, he was still able to fire very accurate punches. His accuracy suddenly took off. It's almost like he woke up, and he was working the body very, very well, very well. And you thought, where's this guy been for the first 6 rounds? Essentially, he basically took over the fight in the 2nd round and was grinding Batista down. Batista was trying to stay disciplined, trying to still land some flurries of his own. He was still landing a few punches here and there, but you could tell that the tide had certainly turned. And gradually, especially to the body, Batista was beginning to feel the pace very, very seriously. Well, the end, having said that, the end did come sort of quite suddenly, because I thought Batista might hear the final bell and lose on points. But in actual fact, in the 11th round, suddenly Martinez landed a terrific punch which pushed Batista back to the ropes. Batista was trying to slip and slide. He'd been hurt to the body previously. He didn't have a lot of energy left by the looks of things. Martinez, I wouldn't say got his 2nd wind. He already had his 1st wind, but he started to land big punches. Momentarily, I think Batista got caught between the top 2 ropes, but he wasn't firing anything back, and the referee stepped in and stopped the fight. And I thought initially that might be a bit premature, but it was noticeable that Batista didn't make any complaint at all, and neither did his corner. And when he got back to the corner, he looked absolutely shattered. And I think it was the body punches that did him. I think he just couldn't recover from the hooks to the body. And Martinez made heavy work of this, because for the first half of the fight, he did seem like he was half asleep. But once he got going, once he gets going, he's a formidable little sod, a formidable force. And Batista, you could argue Batista leaves this with his reputation enhanced, because he didn't do too badly at all for at least 6 or 7 rounds. But unfortunately, it's a 12-round fight. So Martinez, you've got to say, he's in his prime at 28. And I don't know. I mean, where's he going to go from there? Winner of Charlie Edwards is supposedly going to fight Bam. I would like to see the winner of that fight fight Martinez. I think Martinez his style is such that he can clearly be outboxed. He clearly doesn't have the greatest defense, but when he gets his engine running, I mean, this guy is a serious threat. You know, it's not just that he's got heavy hands, it's that he fires a variety of punches so quickly, and his engine's great. I mean, I know in this fight he didn't need much of an engine because he took the first half of the fight off virtually, but he did fantastically well in that second half, and he looks to me like an old 15-round fighter. He's that type of guy, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he gave either Bam or Charlie Edwards some serious things to think about, because both of those guys, Bam, he suffered a broken jaw in his last fight, and okay, he got the job done, but you know, broken jaw, Martinez landing on a broken jaw, or a jaw that's been broken. I don't know. And Bam seems to be more of a, box fighter, whereas Edwards is one of these sort of bounce along slicksters. He's, stick and move being the emphasis on the move part. Would he be able to stay away from Martinez for 12 rounds? It's certainly possible, but I'd love to see it. I really would love to see it. He's fun, Martinez. Even when he's not on his A game like today, he's fun. Did you see this fight? This was the main support for the Canelo-John Ryder main event. Let me know what you thought about this curious performance from Martinez, because I'm a big fan of his, but this had me a little perplexed, certainly for the first half. Do you think maybe his mind wasn't on the job? What do you think? Let me know. Leave your comments below and I'll answer them. I'll have a look at them. I always like reading your comments. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. It takes a second to subscribe, that's all. And tell all your mates to come over here and subscribe as well. We'll build the channel up. It's our channel. Let's build it up. And hit the like button if you like the video too. So looking forward to the main event. As I'm doing this, Ryder and Canelo is just about to come on. I'll do a video for that. Meanwhile, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the main event. Bye for now.